Sheilas and fellas, the year is 2025 and a young Hank has just pulled up to Micro Center looking to start his YouTube career. The one thing he needs to edit his YouTube videos is a buttload of RAM, so alright, what about this bad boy right here? 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM from G-Skill clocked at 6,000 mega transfers per second and a CL of 36 for $83.26. Sounds crazy, right? Believe it or not, back in 2025, Hank thought that was too expensive for 32 gigabytes. So he threw caution to the wind and said, screw it, let's go with this 64 gigabyte CL30 kit for 195 American rock flag and eagle dollars. Yes, you heard me right, 64 gigabytes of CL30 RAM used to be under $200 just 1 year ago. Fast forward to 2026 and Hank once again needs 64 gigabytes of RAM for an editing rig. So let's just have a look at that kit we bought previously back in 2025. Surely it hasn't gone up that much. $900 and it's out of stock? What the hell, LeBron James, is going on? In fact, when we look it up, the cheapest 64 gigabyte kit of RAM we can get is $897 and it's CL38, mate. This sausage is absolutely cooked. He may as well be served on a Costco hot dog. Unfortunately, the same thing has happened with storage, where once upon a time in 2025, we purchased an 8 terabyte M.2 drive for 599 United States pizza pies, but this same drive now costs $1,479. What a ripoff. So given that PC building is cooked, the only way we can get a decent editing rig in this economy is getting a pre-built from Micro Center, and since it needs to be good at editing, we need a CPU with a high core count, a ton of RAM, and a GPU with at least 16 gigabytes of VRAM, given that we are editing in 4K. Based on these specs, we looked up their best rig online and we stumbled across this baby right here, that PowerSpec G913. Now, usually this thing costs an insane $3,499, but Hank ain't paying full price, mate. He went out to the back to search the dumpster and scored an open box rig for $2,879.96. So let's get this baby home so Hank can tear it apart piece by piece and see whether we picked up a steal or got ripped off. And at the end of this video, we will determine whether we can build this thing ourselves using brand new parts to save a bit of cash. Let's get to it. So we are back in the new sausage studio and Hank is ready to see if his new editing rig was worth $2,900. Now, the great thing about Micro Center is this baby was open box, but it is literally in pristine condition. Pretty much all the open box deals we've got looked brand new, so when it comes to Micro Center, always go open box, mate. You won't regret it, and here we saved about $600. So ain't nothing to it, but to do it, let's rip the box off and... oh god, no! We have damaged this high-value keyboard and mouse that came with this pre-built. I'm of course joking, obviously. Look at this nonsense. We have reviewed it in a previous video, and while it's not as bad as HP's peripheral e-waste, it is still more basic than your mother and likely to give you chlamydia. Do yourself a favor and just throw this thing in the garbage. But moving back to the PC, and look at her, mate. She is gorgeous. We got a ton of fans in this bad boy, a fat RTX 5080 GPU and an even fatter glizzy to the left who is actually getting his hair cut today, so look out for that in the next video. But enough yapping, mate. Hank, give me 2 firm handshakes and we can turn this baby on. And goodness gracious me, these are some of the brightest fans I have ever seen, my lord. And if it wasn't enough that the AIO RAM and these 7 spinny boys were shooting rainbow ARGB puke directly into my retinas, we have a little light bar down the bottom. What a time to be alive when it comes to rainbow aesthetics. Overall though, she's a pretty good looking case, I'm not gonna lie. It has this nice curved glass design, which is just one solid piece, and the ARGB light bar down the bottom is a nice touch. The case is the Lian Li CD327, and it's a pretty insane $169 on Amazon to buy it brand new, so not a bad steal here, mate. The PC also comes with an invisible sag bracket at the back, which keeps the GPU straighter than a ruler, and the cable management inside of this naughty girl is excellent. I don't know, mate, I'm a pretty big fan of this PC's aesthetics, but let me know down below, do you like the look of this thing, or is it uglier than the glizzy man? With the aesthetics out of the way, it's time to rip everything out of this PC, starting with the GPU. And Micro Center has entrusted us with the good old reliable PNY RTX 5090, a 2-slot 3-fan design which I don't think looks bad at all. I have had a lot of people in my comments in the past say that they hate PNY and have had awful experiences with this graphics card, but these have been very solid cards in my hand and the cooling is terrific. When we run it under 100% load and firm arc, it doesn't climb across 6-7 degrees, and in games, the temperatures also stay in the mid to low 60s, so terrific showing from PNY here. And if you wanted to buy this yourself brand new, you are looking at paying $1,257 on Amazon, so that is just lovely, mate. Only $257 over MSRP thanks to NVIDIA, you dirty dogs. Moving down to the M.2, and this motherboard has a toolless heatsink, and when we remove it, what do we have here? Did I just have a stroke and go to heaven? A Gen 5 2TB M.2 from Crucial? Say it ain't so, mate. Now, yes, I know this is a $3,500 PC, so you think a 2TB Gen 5 drive would be the minimum, but most pre-builds are still throwing in Gen 4 drives, so we will definitely take this, mate. Especially considering right now this costs 369 American potato salads on Amazon. My goodness, that's expensive. Moving on up to the RAM, and we have these beautiful looking G-Skill Trident Z5 Neo RGB sticks. Both are 32 gigabytes for a total of 64 and are clocked at 6,000 mega transfers per second and a CL of 38. So not awful for 2026 standards, and as we showed before, these things are $897, which is criminal. So right at the end of the video, we will add how much it would cost to buy all of these components brand new and build it yourself. But if we just add the case, RAM, graphics cards, and M.2 together so far, it would already cost us 2,692 United States French fries. So considering we scored this for $2,880 open box, we are well on our way to founding ourselves a steal. Next up, and unfortunately, we have the one downfall to the majority of Micro Center PowerSpec PCs, and it is this Cooler Master Elite 360mm AIO that they insist on using. Now, it looks nice when it's spitting rainbow ARGB puke out of it, but in our hands, it usually does a pretty poor job of cooling, and unfortunately, its opponent today is one hot fella, introducing the Ryzen 9 9900 X3D. 12 cores and 24 threads of pure horsepower, perfect for all of your editing needs, but thanks to the X3D V-Catch, it is still an absolute monster when it comes to gaming, so perfect for our use case. It is just unfortunate the cooler isn't quite perfectly matched, because when we run this under 100% load using firm arc, the temperatures sit consistently at around 97 degrees. Now, you don't need to be fully alarmed. These CPUs are rated to run at well over 100 degrees, and you'd rarely be running under 100% load, usually only when loading shaders when you first install a game. So for example, as you can see here with Marvel Rivals, when it initially loads its shaders, we are utilizing about 90 to 95% of the CPU and the temperatures are in the 90s, but when we go into the game, the CPU temperatures sit in the low to mid 60s, and running the game at high settings with DLSS set to quality is unbelievable, mate. We were able to absolutely dominate with our doppelganger Venom, a dude with a similar body to myself and also with a parasite inside of him. We eventually got the MVP averaging well over 100 frames per second, so terrific stuff. If we look at it playing a more CPU intensive game like Fortnite, the CPU temperatures sit well below 70 degrees while this rig pumps out 350 frames per second at 4K performance mode settings, so crappy cooler be damned. She'll do the job for now and can easily be switched out down the track if you're desperate. The last thing we need to look at before we perform some backdoor power supply action is the motherboard, and this is where this PC shines. Micro Center and PowerSpec have blessed us with MSI's X870E Tomahawk board. This thing is an absolute beast, one of the best motherboards out there right now that isn't $100 million. It comes with 4 M.2 slots, all covered by heat sinks, great VRMs, and an insane rear I/O with 3 USB-C ports, Wi-Fi 7 and 5 gigabit LAN, and surprisingly, if you were to buy this yourself, it's a pretty reasonable $260 on Amazon, so not bad for an X870E board of this caliber. So with the front components all done, let's piece it together by throwing on a small pea-like blob of thermal paste onto the CPU, bolt the cooler back on down, throw the two 32GB RAM sticks back into sockets 2 and 4, and then chuck our PNY RTX 5080 back into the top PCIe socket so we could flip her around and go in through the booty to check the final piece of the puzzle, the power supply. And as we remove the back cover, we can see a jungle of cables. Definitely not the cleanest cable management we've seen from these pre-builts, but certainly better than what Hank is capable of. And when we peek into the bottom right hand hand corner, we have been given a 1000 watt 80 plus gold power supply from Cooler Master, and this baby is tier B on the PSU tiers list, so terrific stuff, mate. So overall, would I recommend buying this thing for $3,500? Meh, that's pretty expensive, mate. It's well worth the $2,800 price tag for an open box PC. Don't hesitate on that one, buddy. But for 3,500 clamshells, that is a lot of money, so I tell you what, let's find the cheapest brand new components online that match this current PC build and see if we can build it ourselves for cheaper. Starting off with the motherboard, this baby is going to run us back $260 on both Amazon and Micro Center, but she is a beauty, so we're going to put it straight into the cart. Going to the CPU, and the cheapest 9900 X3D we could find is 469 American Krabby Patties at Micro Center, so throw her in there as well. The M.2 is tricky because it is Gen 5, but the cheapest one we can find is from a company called Loca on Amazon, $290. I've never heard of this brand, so let me know how risky this is in the comments if you've used them previously. The PSU is going to be a piece of cake, mate. The Montech 1050 watt 80 plus gold tier A on the PSU tiers list is currently $90. That is incredible. Thank you, Montech. And for the GPU, the cheapest RTX 5080 brand new is from Micro Center. It's their Gigabyte Windforce Overclocked Edition for $1,199, about $200 over its original MSRP. In terms of the RAM, the cheapest 64GB kit we could find is on Corsair's website. It's 6,000 mega transfers per second and CL30 for $810, so it's a great kit, but still an astronomical price. In terms of the AIO, let's spice it up a bit and get an LCD one from Thermalright for $75 so we can throw Hank's ugly mug on it and then finish it off with the case. There are a number of different budget options you can go with that actually look pretty good, but we are going to go with, in my opinion, what is the best value case on the market right now. The DIY PC N3 ARGB, $74 off Newegg after using a coupon, and it comes with 4 Infinity fans, an ARGB fan hub, and a nice design with a ton of room to build in. So with all these bad boys in our cart and the prices laid out on our screen, I am happy to say that for once, we can actually beat the total price of this build using brand new parts with a final cost of $3,266 United States George Washington. So in conclusion, if you see this open box for under $3K, snap it up immediately. Otherwise, if you're up for the task, build it yourself, mate. Me and the Glizzy love ya. Goodbye.